Hare Krishna, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kham karoti vachalam pangum nangati grim kripa tamham vande Shri Guru Dinatarine. Hare Krishna. So today we'll see verse number 8. So Krishna explained about the goodness and passion and how it binds us. So goodness binds us by happiness, peacefulness, and knowledge, and passion binds us by unlimited desires, and then we act to fulfill those desires. Yeah. That's how it binds us, because desires keep increasing. So now in this verse, Krishna explains about tama gun, or ignorance, and how it binds us. Okay. So tamastava ajnanajam vidhi.
Tamastava ajnanajam vidhi
Mohanam sarvadehinam.
mohanam sarvadehinam
Pramada alasya nidrabhis.
pramada alasya nidravish
Tan nibadhan. I'm struggling with this word. Nibhanati Bharata.
tannivadnati bharata.
Okay, please chant.
Tamastav ajnanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nidravish tannivadnati bharata.
तमस्त्वज्ञानजं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिस्तन्निबध्नाति भारत.
तमस्तस्वज्ञानञ्जं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिस्तान्निबध्नाति भारत.
Okay, so translation and purport. O son of Bharata, know that mode of darkness born of ignorance is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The result of this mode are madness, dolence, and sleep, which binds the conditioned soul. Purport. In this verse, the specific application of the word "to" is very significant. This means that the mode of ignorance is very peculiar qualification of embodied soul. The mode of ignorance is just the opposite of mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, by development of knowledge, one can understand what is what. But mode of ignorance is just opposite. Everyone under the spell of mode of ignorance becomes mad, and a madman cannot understand what is what. Instead of making advancement, one becomes degraded. The definition of mode of ignorance is stated in the Vedic literature. Vatsu yathatmya jnana avarakam viparyaya jnana janakam tamaha. Under the spell of ignorance, one cannot understand the thing as it is. For example, everyone can see that his grandfather has died and therefore he will also die. Man is mortal. The children that he convinces will also die. So the death is sure. Still, people are madly accumulating money and working very hard all day and night, not caring for eternal spirit. This is madness. In their madness, they are very reluctant to make advancement in spiritual understanding. Such people are lazy. When they are invited to associate with spirit for spiritual understanding, they are not much interested. They are not even active like a man who is controlled by mode of passion. Thus, another symptom of in the mode of ignorance is that he sleeps more than is required. 6 hours of sleep is sufficient. But a man in ignorance sleeps at least 10 or 12 hours a day. Such a man appears to be always dejected and is addicted to intoxicants and sleeping. These are the symptoms of person conditions by mode of ignorance. So like Kali Yuga is dominated by passion and ignorance. So in one way, as we are struggling in this world, we have some ignorance. Everybody has ignorance. That's why we are here. We don't know our real identity. So that's what Krishna is doing from the second chapter in the first teaching, that you are not body, you are soul. So that is the main ignorance. And we identify with our body and then we do all the activities. That itself is ignorance. So we are so used to identify with the body that we never think that it is ignorance. In fact, in ignorance, what we think, that body is more important than spirit or the soul. So when the body is important, we say, okay, the material activities are more important than spiritual. Though we know, as Srila Prabhupada mentions, it's going to finish. It's not going to last. So that's not very intelligence. So that is ignorance. We don't use our intelligence properly. So Srila Prabhupada gives an example of working, like how much you work. 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. Without thinking of body also. So we see people who make work as their life and soul. They cannot think of anything else. So in one way, that is too much attachment, too much passion for the work. But in that, there is complete ignorance of the real identity of spirit. So doing the job or work, what is necessary, is recommended. Krishna is also recommending to do your dharma. So if you have family, you have to maintain your family. That's dharma. You cannot say that I will not maintain. If you are grahastha, you have to do that. But you should be in proper knowledge. So I am not doing this job for my own satisfaction or gaining some respect or gaining some position. That actually gives us passion and ignorance more and more. So similarly, we can easily identify our situation based on the symptoms that Krishna has given. So what Krishna has given, alas, laziness, pramad, madness, nidrabhi is sleep, alasya, and these three things, right? So madness means when we get angry, we don't know what we are doing, what we are saying. So that is complete ignorance. We identify so much with the body, and we don't use our intelligence. We lose that intelligence, and then we say the things which we are not supposed to say. So that passion becomes so heavy that we cannot control ourselves. But it basically started from ignorance of our real identity. So and sleep is the main indicator, we can say. We are tired, so we sleep. That's necessary. If you don't sleep for 2 days while working, for example, and then if you sleep for 14 hours, that's justifiable. But what is that make you work without sleeping? That is also a problem. Of course, we have pressure, and we cannot actually, if the situation demands that you work without sleeping, we cannot deny that also in our work. We have to do it. So that is how we are conditioned actually. That I want to deny that I cannot work without sleeping, but I cannot do that. If that's how the situation conditions us. That's how we are driven by the situation. So even if we don't want to do, we do it. So that's how we are actually controlled. And this is what we have to understand, that, okay, today I don't want to do, but I have to do. So at that moment, it's, if we can notice consciously that, okay, this is a situation where I don't want to be in this situation, but I'm in that situation. Now I have to face it. So if we can consciously think like this, then actually we are at least realizing what is our state of this condition, right? How we are bind, and we cannot do anything. So this actually brings our consciousness into light of knowledge. But if we don't have that consciousness, then we just work, and we don't think of anything else. This is also madness, right? We don't think of reality. Alasya means laziness. So this is very common, right? Laziness and sleep are very related. And generally on weekends, Saturday, Sunday, when we are off, we don't have office work, then we try to become lazy. So if we call Saturday morning somebody at 8 o'clock and they don't pick up the phone, and then they call back at 11 o'clock, and then we ask them, why you didn't pick up? Then that person very naturally says that today is Saturday, so I was a little bit lazy and I slept till 10 o'clock. Right? But that is what ignorance, that we sleep 4 hours, 5 hours extra. We say that it is recovery of the fatigue or stress. That's true. But we have to understand that we have to work 5 days in such a way that we get so much stressed out and fatigued that we need 5 hours of extra sleep to recoveries. So that is what is knowledge, that yeah, this is how we are bound in this world. And still we think that that is happiness, like sleeping till 10 o'clock, we think it is happiness, including me. Sometimes I feel like I want to sleep more. So that is what we have been overcome by the ignorance that sleep is happiness, right? So I am also in that category. It's nothing different. It happens. But at least we should understand that, oh, I am in complete ignorance today. Okay, once we come to know that, we can change by doing some spiritual activities. So the Krishna, what Krishna is trying to tell here is, we are bound by these three modes, and we do the activities by these modes, even if we don't want to do. And as a soul in this conditioned body, we have to understand how we are bind by these modes. And even if we want to resist, we cannot resist, we cannot deny. And sometimes we don't notice also. That's how the ignorance is. We never notice that we are actually bind. We feel we are free, but that is also ignorance of the reality. That's illusion knowledge that I am free, I am controller, I can do whatever I want. It's never like that. What that is what Krishna is telling, that all these three modes bind us, and that is what is Prakriti. When the jiva or the soul comes in contact with the body and Prakriti, these modes make us do different activities, uh, or just ignore the activities, and that binds us. So by the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and especially in this chapter, we have to see the reality of our situation. And instead of becoming disgusted or becoming surprised as our situation, actually we take it as a eye opener, and positively we can work forward that, no, I want to come out of all these things, right? Sometimes we have to come out of laziness and go for a walk or something to be fresh, right? So like that, we have to slowly change our life. So how to do that? And that Krishna explains that also, because he's going to explain how to come out of these three modes. So Krishna has told that bhakti is the process. In the 12th chapter, he has clearly told that you can overcome this Devi Yeshi Gunamayi. So you can overcome this by my spiritual energy. So that is bhakti. How that can be done? By taking shelter of bhakti process. So that Krishna will explain in this chapter more. And also this binding of these three modes actually helps us to understand that why bhakti is important, and why studying the scriptures is important. uh, so we actually appreciate the process of bhakti because it takes us, uh, it supports us to come out of all these bindings. So Krishna will explain those things in this chapter actually very nicely. So we'll see those in the next shlokas. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So any comments, any examples, anything? Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare